The sun rose gently over Seoul, washing the city in gold. On that same morning, two powerful men, Mr. Park Dae-jun, a rich Korean businessman, and Mr. Ade Chukwuma, an African investor from Nigeria, sealed a friendship that went beyond money. They had worked together for years, building hotels, hospitals, and solar projects across 2 continents. That evening, they sat together over tea. Mr. Park laughed heartily and said, "My friend, let's make our families one. My son June will marry your daughter Adobe." Mr. Ade smiled proudly. "Then it settled. When they grow up, our bond will become blood." They shook hands. The promise was made. Years later, June Park had become a tall, gentle young man, smart, confident, and humble. He spoke perfect English and had studied business management, preparing to take over his father's company. Adobe, the African daughter, grew up in Lagos, bold and radiant, with eyes that shone like sunlight. She had moved to Korea for school and was excited to finally meet the man her father had spoken about all her life. When June and Adobe met for the first time, it felt like destiny. They connected instantly. Their laughter, their shared dreams, their love for music and simple things. "When I look at you, Adobe," June said one evening under cherry blossoms, "I feel peace." And she smiled softly. "When I look at you, June, I feel home." They were inseparable, love written across the stars. Mr. Park and Mr. Ade were overjoyed. The future seemed perfect, until the night everything changed. It was June's birthday. He had bought a ring, planning to propose to Adobe. The rain was heavy that night, the road slippery. He called her once more before driving. "I'm coming, my love. I have a surprise." But fate had other plans. A truck lost control and crashed into his car. Everything went dark. When June opened his eyes, he was in the hospital. His head throbbed, his eyes burned, and the world was black. The doctor sighed deeply. "Mr. Park, your eyes are damaged. You might never see again." His mother cried. His father fainted. When Adobe arrived, she screamed and ran to him. "June, it's me. I'm here." He smiled weakly, reaching out his hand. "I can't see you, but I can feel you." For weeks, Adobe stayed by his side. But as time passed, she began to pull away. She whispered to her mother, Mrs. Ade, "Oma, I'm scared. I can't marry a blind man." Her mother frowned. "You are too young, Adobe. You can't waste your beauty on someone who cannot see it." Mr. Park tried to beg her. "Please, Adobe, don't leave him. He's all he has." But Adobe packed her things and left. June waited for her every day, but she never came back. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, there was another girl, Zuri. She was Mr. Ade's stepdaughter from his first wife. Zuri was kind, soft-spoken, and full of grace. She lived far away, caring for her sick mother, who was dying from heart disease. One morning, Mrs. Ade called her unexpectedly. "Zuri, your father has made a decision. You will marry June Park, the blind son of our business partner." Zuri was shocked. "But I don't even know him." Her stepmother's tone was sharp. "Your sister, Adobe, refuses to marry him, so you will." This is your father's order." Zuri cried all night, but the next day, her mother's health worsened. The doctors said she needed surgery soon, or she would die. Zuri begged her father, "Papa, please pay for my mother's surgery." But Mr. Ade replied coldly, "I will, only if you marry June Park. That is my condition." Zuri's heart broke. She looked at her mother lying weakly on the hospital bed and whispered, "I will do it for you." The wedding was quiet. There were no flowers, no laughter, no joy. June couldn't see her face. He only heard her trembling voice as she said, "I do." After the ceremony, he said gently, "You don't have to love me. I know my parents forced you." She replied softly, "I will take care of you, June. That's my promise." She meant it. Days turned into weeks. Zuri helped him eat, read, walk, and find peace again. June, who was cold and bitter at first, slowly began to feel warmth again through her kindness. He would sit beside her, listening to her hum African lullabies. "What song is that?" he asked once. "It's from my homeland. It means, even in the dark, love finds light." June didn't say a word, but for the first time in months, he smiled. Then one evening, tragedy struck. Zuri received a call from Nigeria. Her mother was gone. The phone dropped from her hand. She screamed. June rushed to her, though blind, finding her by the sound of her sobs. "What happened? Talk to me, please." Through tears, she whispered, "My mother, she's dead." June wrapped his arms around her as she cried against his chest. They held each other for hours, broken hearts, finding comfort in each other's pain. From that night, their bond became deeper. June, though blind, didn't want to see Zuri suffer anymore. He wanted to help her live again. One afternoon, he made a few calls. He still had old business connections, people who owed him favors from when he was still working with his father. "Help my wife," he told one of them. "She is strong, loyal, and she deserves a chance." A week later, Zuri got a call. She had been offered a job as an assistant at a medical research center in Seoul. She was surprised. "I didn't even apply for this." June smiled. "I used to know people who owed me. I just reminded them that I'm still alive." Zuri laughed for the first time in months. At her new job, she worked hard, organizing papers, helping with hospital reports, and learning medical terms. She impressed everyone, especially a senior doctor, Dr. Minho, who noticed her intelligence. One day, Dr. Minho overheard her talking to June on the phone, encouraging him to stay strong. He asked, "Is your husband blind?" Zuri nodded shyly. Dr. Minho sighed deeply. "There is a famous eye surgeon in Busan who might help, but the surgery is expensive." When she told June, he refused. "No, we can't afford it. We've spent too much already." But Zuri didn't give up. She worked extra hours, saved every coin, and one day, her boss handed her an envelope. "Your husband saved this company years ago. We owe him. This is our contribution." Zuri wept with joy. The day of the surgery arrived. June was nervous. He held her hand tightly. "If I can't see again, promise me you'll still stay." Zuri smiled through tears. "I was here when you couldn't see. I'll be here either way." The operation took 8 hours. When it was over, the doctor slowly removed the bandages. June blinked. At first, everything was blurry. Then light, shapes, colors, and then her face. He gasped softly. You're beautiful. Zuri burst into tears. You can see me? He nodded, eyes shining. Yes, you are the light I prayed for. They held each other and cried, tears of love, hope, and rebirth. But their happiness didn't last long. One morning, a familiar voice came at the door. June. It was Adobe. She stood there in designer clothes, her face filled with regret. I made a mistake, she said.
I still love you. Let's start again. Zuri froze. June looked at Adobe for a long moment. Then he said quietly, When I was blind, you left me in the dark. But Zuri stayed. She became my eyes, my heart, my world. I can't leave her. Adobe's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, June replied softly. And some pain never fades. She walked away silently. Zuri looked at him, unsure if she should speak. But he held her hand and said, I choose you. Months passed. Their love grew stronger. Together, they rebuilt Mr. Park's company, opened a small charity hospital in Nigeria, and named it after Zuri's late mother. Then, one morning, while cooking breakfast, Zuri felt dizzy and fainted. June rushed her to the hospital. After a long wait, the doctor came out smiling. Congratulations, Mr. Park. Your wife is pregnant. June froze in shock, then laughed and hugged her. We're having a baby! Zuri wept with joy. After everything, the pain, the loss, the darkness, their world finally had light. That night, as they sat under the moonlight in their garden, June whispered, Do you still remember that song from your homeland? She smiled softly and began to sing. Even in the dark, love finds light. A gentle wind blew, carrying her voice into the night. And from afar, it seemed as if the stars were listening, shining brighter for the love that conquered blindness, betrayal, and death. Their story spread across nations, the tale of the blind groom and the African woman whose heart taught him to see. Please like, share, and comment.